Hello everyone, Ventrua here with what I would consider my first build guide in Path of Exile 2. And I would like to ask everybody that if you enjoy my content and if any of these videos are actually helpful to you, please make sure to like, comment and subscribe as it helps an insane amount. So how is my character going? We are about 4 days in Path of Exile 2 and my character is almost level 90, is doing corrupted tier 15 and tier 16 maps without any issues. I've killed the pinnacle bosses of Sanctum and Breach, no issues again. I have 19 deaths so far, half of which were in the campaign. I feel like that is better than almost any content creator I've talked to, and I'm very satisfied with the build I'm currently playing. And I feel like you can't really have a bad experience because there isn't that much input involved. I'm gonna say this is mostly an endgame guide. If you are looking for a guide for Axe or early mapping, check out the other videos on this channel. I've posted my setup and thoughts after Act 1, 2, and 3, and when I finish the entire campaign. Lastly, there has been an SRS change patch recently, and this does not affect our build whatsoever. I have not used automatic triggered SRS, and you were already casting twice to summon all 10, so it doesn't realistically matter at all. The main skill for this build is a Skeletal Arsonist. We have been using this pretty much since the end of Act 2, and I'm still using it now, and I think it's the strongest minion right now. I actually haven't seen anything stronger, but there might be other stuff out there. I just haven't seen it personally. So, we link our Skeletal Arsonist with Last Gasp, Scattershot, and Martial Tempo as the first three supports. I think those are the highest quality of life and power. And then the last two supports that you can get through Greater and Perfect Jeweler Orb, I went for Feeding Frenzy and Fire Infusion. There's a lot of damage supports that are similar in damage numbers, so there's definitely a lot of options. The only thing I want to mention is I used to use Conk Effect, and I decided against it, not because it was bad, but I think it hurt the clear a little too much. It is still probably the best single target gem, especially on big bosses. But I decided against it as you just lose like 10% damage, and I think it's worth to have the extra AoE. The secondary skill in this build is called Raging Spirit. It's a spirit gem, not an active skill gem, so if you're looking for it, you find it there. And then I have there Immolate, Elemental Focus, and then Minion Master and Fire Master. That is because we ran out of the really good support gems. I think you could also use Heft, but I didn't do the math for that one, but it's probably more damage than Fire Master. The Ascendancy gives us Infernal Hellhound. You gain more sockets for Hellhound as you level. The last one comes at level 90. I don't remember when the fifth one comes, but we are using Elemental Army and Meat Shield for defenses. And then we are using Fire Exposure and Strip Away, which increases the effect of the exposure. We use Flame Wall to trigger our Raging Spirits with Fortress support, which makes it into a circle, which allows our Arsonist to benefit from the flat damage Flame Wall gives. Arcane Tempo for more cast speed, and Energy Barrier for whenever we get stunned to start recharging Energy Shield. This is the latest addition. I don't think it's super important, but it's better than nothing. Grim Feast is the unsung hero of this build. This is an insane amount of recovery for any minion build because we scale levels of Grim Feast while we scale minion stuff, and that just turns it into a monster. Honestly, this also allows you to overflow the energy shield, which is a little too much. So instead of running around with 8.5k ES, we can actually run around with 17k energy shield. But even if they were to ever delete the overflow line, this is still extremely good. Pain Offering is one of our damage supports. We are using it with Ablation, which makes it cost life but increases the effect of Offering. Font of Rage, which generates rage for our minions, and Font of Blood. As you can see, the range on the Font of Rage is like quite decent, so just make sure to put it in the middle of your minions. Unnerve, this is kind of a filler skill that you use because you don't really have that much else to cast. I have it linked to Infernal Legion and Minion Instability and Culling Strike. Basically the idea here is that we use this to summon Scorpions from monsters to clear white mobs. That's like their whole point. They tank for you and they explode and kill white mobs for your Arsonist to have a better focus fire on rares. Flammability, I have linked with Heightened Curse for more effect, Persistence for more duration because the mana cost of Flammability is very high, and Focus Cursed. Honestly, I was thinking of replacing Focus Cursed with Hex Bloom for Prolif. At least for breach farming, I think it's better. But I've been using Focus Curse the entire time, and it's also fine. Detonated. This is latest edition because I didn't really have buttons to press, and I wanted something extra. And I don't think it does too much, but it's better than nothing. So we have Detonated with Unleash, Spell Cascade, and Magnified Effect for more AoE. I've seen people run Skeletal Storm Mage. I've been running it myself too initially. But when I got to higher tier maps and pinnacle bosses, he stopped shocking. But you should probably try it out for yourself if you are in lower tier maps, as he actually does deliver like a 35% shock there. And the links that you want to use for them is Skeletal Storm Mage, Overcharge, Conduction, and Stormfire. Next up is skill tree. So I will go for Ascendancy first. I went Loyal Hellhound as my normal lap Ascendancy after Trial of Sekema. Then I went for Altered Flesh. Make sure your fire res is good. It should ideally be higher than your Cold and Lightning. It doesn't necessarily need to be capped, but if it's higher than your Cold and Lightning, it's already an upside. The next Ascendancy point that you get from finishing Floor 3 Sanctum is Bidet's Will, which reserves some of your life for Spirit. And then, if you ever figure out how to get the last remaining points, it would be Bidet's Hand to gain some Energy Shield. I've recently repacked my skill tree to start at the ES start and go through the middle. The main reason to go through the middle is to get access to Master of Hexes, as this cluster gives you like 36 curse effect in total, and it is a significant damage increase, about 10 to 15%. Speaking of curses, you could also go for Whispers of Doom and play Enfeeble if you want to. I've just been way too lazy to cast both curses, but honestly, it would probably be correct to do so. The reason I don't pick up Illuminated Crown here is that my helmet is not good enough for the node to be better than 15% ES. Just check for yourself if it's better for you or not. And lastly, we go for block now. I will talk about my shield later, but I think this is correct. I think block is slightly better than focus is. Even though focus gives you more energy shield, or your energy shield pool is already high enough that it doesn't really matter. This node would be really good, Ancient Ages, but it currently doesn't work and it doesn't give you the extra energy shield from body armor. So do not click this, but if they ever fix this, this would be a good node to take. And now let's go through gear. So let's start on the shield because we just talked about this. The shield, in my opinion, is slightly better than focus, mostly because with so little investment on the skill tree and a chance to block roll on the shield, we have 49% block, which is pretty solid, right? So I've decided that I will be playing with a shield going forward, at least for mapping. Maybe for bossing I would consider going back to focus, but honestly, the ES difference doesn't really matter. Again, it's not like we are getting one shot. So my shield is just high resist, chance to block, and as high ES as possible. Pretty solid shield. It's hard to get better, honestly, with the current state of PoE2 crafting. Scepter, +4 minion is the important stat here. Minion increased damage or allies increased damage, also very good. Ideally, you would have some spirit on your scepter, but unfortunately, you know, it's pretty hard to get levels of minions on your scepter, increased damage and spirit at the same time. So 2 of 3 of those stats, completely good enough. It does have 20 quality for the spirit. I just want to mention how to get those because I've seen people skip on that. It's from Arcanist Etcher. If you quality your scepter, it will give it 20% more spirit, so make sure to do that if you're missing a little bit of spirit. It's probably an extra minion that you didn't have before. Helmet, you really want to focus on having +2 minion skills and then decent ES. As you can see, I'm not upset about my helmet, it's pretty good. It was the best helmet that was available at the time I was buying it yesterday. And it also fixes my int issue, because you do need a lot of int to equip your high level skill gems. For example, level 19 skill gem is 191 intelligence. My amulet I've actually recently replaced to get a little more variety and extra minion level. The affixes you are looking for are spirit and minion level. Those are the 2 most important affixes. But obviously, if you don't have to get both, items with both of them are very overpriced. Just choose one and you're gonna be completely fine. I would say early on, before you get your third Ascendancy, Spirit is better, Later on, when you already have it, levels of minions is better, but either of them, completely fine. My body armor also has spirit and high energy shield. This is quite difficult to obtain. I would generally say focus on energy shield here. If you do not have spirit on your body armor, make sure to have spirit on your amulet so your spirit is not too low. Left ring, pretty much just a little bit of rarity and resist, nothing too special to talk about. Same way for the right ring. Belt is probably my worst item right now, as it doesn't really roll energy shield as far as I know. But the life converts into a little bit of spirit, and mana is like fine. I'm not really sure how to get a good belt, honestly. Belt crafting seems pretty miserable. Gloves, again, you want energy shield resist. There's nothing else you can roll on gloves that's useful. And boots, you want movement speed 20 or 25 minimum, I would say. Otherwise, it feels very sluggish. And some resist on the suffixes. I'm using Gold Charm currently. I think if you feel like you are getting stunned a lot, you could use a stun charm, but I've been farming with a Gold Charm, as it just increases the loot by a little bit. Life Flask, nothing special. Mana Flask, nothing special. I have put gain charges per second on them because it just felt better for bosses, like prolonged bosses. But honestly, if you're mapping, your Flask suffixes don't really matter. You only ever use Life Flask when you use your offering anyways, and Mana Flask you'll use a lot more, but you could just stop casting for a bit and your mana does regenerate quite fast. I also get asked often what you should go for jewels. And in my opinion, the best jewels have increased energy shield and then other stats that you care about. Either minion all res or minion attack and cast speed. Both are pretty good. But honestly, it's pretty hard to get a jewel with more than like 2 or 3 stats. So just make sure you get something that's at least okay. Hope this guide was comprehensive enough. If you have any question, make sure to stop by my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Ventrua, and ask them there. I will be happy to answer them. In a day or so, there will be also a way of viewing the entire build on Maxroll. I will make sure to update the description to show it, but the tool is currently being worked on, and it looks similar to this, where there will be a skill tree, all the links once they get inputted, all the gear, my Atlas tree, and there's gonna be a showcase as well. So if you are someone who prefers something you can just read and scroll through, this will be updated within a day or so. So I will make sure to include the link in the description once it's fully updated, or probably in the pin post. Anyways, I hope this was useful for everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this content, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!